Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us. Tonight in the program, we focus on the review of President Tinubu's tenure and cross-sectoral prospect for Nigeria in 2024. And I've been speaking with a special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngelale. Mr. Ngelale, let's move on with this conversation. Let's now talk about healthcare delivery in the country. What more should Nigerians expect in 2024?
Again, this is another area where His Excellency, Mr. President, has really put his stamp on the 2024 appropriation with respect to the level of prioritization that he now accords to the healthcare delivery sector. If you look at the fact that year on year from 2023 to 2024, we have now gone above 5% of the budgetary allocation to health. Yes, we are not yet at the large-scale target that we are looking for, but we are clearly moving from 3% to 5%. We are moving toward ensuring that we give the health sector the required resources that it needs to really satisfy the massive demand out there for the healthcare delivery to over 200 million Nigerians. But let me say this very specifically. Now, what Nigerians can expect within the sector over the course of the next 12 months or so is under the leadership of Mr. President and, of course, under the direct leadership of Dr. Mohammed Ali Pate, the Minister of Health, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, we are going to be seeing a pooling of not just government resource, but bilateral, multilateral grants, as well as other philanthropic resources coming in to fund the large-scale kind of reform of the health sector. How is this going to work? Specifically speaking, outside of, and I'm going to go into the budget in a moment, but outside of the budgetary allocation to the health sector, we already have massive resources from non-government sources that are going to allow us to immediately, within the first 1 year, within this year, this budgetary year of 2024, we are going to be able to retrain 120,000 frontline health workers across all nooks and crannies of the Federation, across all wards, who are going to be working in our communities, working in our primary health centers, and the like. That is going to be very, very vital. Again, that is without recourse to any budget, any government resource in the budget. That is from grants and multilateral partners that Mr. President and the Honorable Minister have been able to galvanize from overseas. In addition to that, within the budget, we are going to be, within the next 12 months, constructing 6 new cancer centers. These are going to be world-class cancer centers within every geopolitical zone of the country. Each geopolitical zone will have at least one brand new, newly constructed cancer center within this year alone. In addition to that, we are going to be providing over 20, essentially the upgradation of 20 teaching hospitals, 20 existing teaching hospitals across all geopolitical zones of the country, equitably distributed across those zones. 20 teaching hospitals will be newly outfitted and upgraded with the latest in equipment, the latest in infrastructure. In some cases, we're going to be building new wings and entirely new facilities as part of that process. So our teaching hospitals within year one, really, of our administration is going to be massively upgraded across the country, in addition to 6 brand new cancer centers across the geopolitical zones. In addition to that, I think this is really important, is Mr. President is not looking at the health sector as just a government concern. Under his leadership and under the direct watch of Dr. Pate, what we're going to be seeing is a whole of society approach to health sector reform. What do I mean? Everybody needs to join hands and take responsibility for not just upgradation, but really the sustainability of upgrades that are going to be put in place. So, for example, the Minister of Health has been aggressively consulting with stakeholders across the country, such as the Sultan of Sokoto and the Traditional Rulers Council of Nigeria and many other stakeholders, not just in the traditional, segment of our society, but also our political leaders at the local, state, and federal levels, ensuring that our non-government organizations in the country, nonprofits, are also keyed into the larger health sector reform. The point is that it's one thing to bring government resource to the table and get something done. It's another thing to bring resources from all segments of the society, not just monetary resources, but in terms of teaching resources, in terms of human resource, volunteering, volunteering citizens and the like. Really, creating a coalition of a cross section of the society to say, look, we're going to build the sector together, and we're going to ensure that with all hands on deck, we sustain the developments that Mr. President is bringing to bear in the sector. So, for example, over the course of the next two to 3 years, we will be pooling together funds of about 2.5 billion US dollars, 500 million of which will come from direct government expenditure. So you know that about $2 billion will be coming from philanthropic donations. They'll be coming from other nonprofits. They'll be coming from foreign governments. We have these kinds of partnerships that are developing under the leadership of Mr. President to say, look, we don't have to carry the financing burden from government alone. We can actually pool resources together in a way that also incentivizes our private sector partners to be guardians and really custodians of ensuring that whatever infrastructure we're putting in place, whatever policies and programs we're putting in place in that sector are being carried out in a way that effectively justifies those expenditures on the part of the private sector as well as the government. Now, I also want to add this. This is very key. If we don't deal with the issue of private healthcare provision and the way that it is administered in the country, we're not going to make much progress, because we recognize that the bulk of our masses are at the grassroots of our society. When you have 80% of the sector's burden on primary health facilities, you will know.
Mr. Ajuri Gilani, can you hear me? Right, tonight we focused on the review of President Tinubu's tenure and cross-sectoral prospect for Nigeria in 2024. Mr. Gilani, if you can hear me, please go ahead with your submission.
Yes, please. Yes, please. We are reforming the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, which is 1% of the Consolidated Revenue Fund, to ensure that we are able to double over the course of the next 2 to 3 years. We are going to double the number of primary health care centers in our country from the current 8,800 or so primary health facilities across local government areas of the Federation to over 17,600 primary health care facilities over the course of the next 3 years, pooling together with that pooled resource of about $2.5 billion between government expenditure and non-government expenditure, in addition to retraining our health technicians and workers and employing more interns and more midwives and the like across the board. So we're dealing with existing manpower and also, acquiring more manpower out of our academic institutions. So that's the health sector. Now, if you look very carefully, for example, at the need for how we can reform the education system, for example, and ensure that we deal decisively with this trend of increasing rates of out-of-school children in the country. What we are doing within the 2024 Appropriation Act is applying 100 billion naira to the food and nutrition system for our basic education institutions across all local government areas of the Federation. With our school feeding program, we want to scale it up to well above 10 million Nigerian school children who will be benefiting directly from the school feeding program that's been appropriated within this 2024 budget, and also ensure
Mr. Galale, are you still there?
For each of their children within those rural localities. So that's another investment. I think if we look at the larger scheme of investment, promotion, and attraction in the country, I think we have to look at the issue of judicial reform. This is something that the president is very passionate about. In Lagos, he successfully executed a robust Judicial Reform Program, which is now the envy of the country in terms of subnational judicial effectiveness. What he wants to do is now nationalize that, make sure that that is now made nationwide. And one of the major aspects of how he's going to do that is what he achieved by signing the 2024 appropriation bill into law just this afternoon. So what he's done is he has more than doubled the allocation to the National Judicial Council, the NJC, really doubling the financial wherewithal and the financial space for the federal judiciary in such a way that they can now enact the kinds of reforms that will have a direct impact on our ability to have a rules-based economic system where people can believe that contracts are sanctified in our country, that there is a sanctity of contracts, that contracts will be upheld in the court of law, that judges will not be able to be bribed, that they will not be incentivized to pervert justice in any way. A big part of how you do that is by creating the financial space for our judicial system to enact reforms with respect to the automation of judicial processes, court processes, making sure that we remove as many administrative processes out of the hands of human beings as possible, automate those processes for efficiency, for integrity assurance, and also ensuring that we provide the fiscal space for training and retraining, for salaries and benefits. Let's be honest. When you, as was proven by the Lego State Judicial Reform Program, when you are able to guarantee judicial officers the dignity that comes with home ownership, when you are able to give them vehicles, when you are able to ensure that their salaries are internationally competitive, where they can, with their salaries, with their bonuses, that they are able to, with their allowances, fund the tuition of their children to go to school without having to pervert justice and receive bribes from people who are in the court of law or who have undergone, judicial process. This is how you reform the system. And so by more than doubling the allocation from approximately 165 billion naira to about 342 billion naira within the 2024 appropriation bill to the judiciary, the president is taking a massive step in that direction. And we believe that these are the kinds of steps that will enhance investor confidence and really bolster his ability when he goes out to international markets, to foreign countries within the year 2024. I'm sure the president will continue with his aggressive investment promotion and attraction activities in international domains. When he does that, and international investors know that Nigeria is not conducting business as usual, that the judiciary is being reformed in ways that are verifiable, in ways that are tangible, when infrastructure is being provided, when the electric power grid is working. These are the things that ultimately will attract the investments, that will ultimately create the millions of job opportunities required to satisfy the increasing demand from a very brilliant and talented youth population that is coming into the workforce at a time when they are hungry for new jobs and seeking new opportunities to showcase themselves, their talents, and their ability to impact the Nigerian economy for the benefit of everybody. All
right. So before we go into the ICT sector and the prospect for young Nigerians in 2024, it's evidence that Nigerians are happy that the investments in oil and gas are yielding results, especially Port Harcourt Refinery. What impact can these have on the economy?
Anytime you're dealing with the crucial issue of energy security, you're making very important progress. So you've cited very well the unveiling of phase one of the Port Harcourt refineries, approximately 60,000 barrels worth of refined PMS production within Port Harcourt that was flagged off, that was unveiled just in December. Of course, that's going now through the test run process, which is normal for all newly started up, refineries. Then, of course, in addition to that, we have phase two being conducted, which is set for completion in December 2024. That is the end of this year. And that does not include the ongoing reconstruction of the Kaduna and Warri refineries by Daewoo International Corporation in South Korea. So that is also ongoing with outcomes expected at the end of this year into 2025. That does not obviously deal with the private sector investments in petroleum refining that have been enabled by the progressive administrations of President Muhammadu Buhari and now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Obviously, it's no secret to Nigerians that more than 4 shipments of oil cargoes have now been sent to the world-class Dangote Refinery, the largest single-train refinery in the world, 650,000 barrels per day, which will now be dealing not only with domestic demand and consumption, but now also putting Nigeria in a position to earn foreign exchange with the export of PMS for the first time. And obviously, NNPCL owns 20% stake in Dangote Refinery. So of all the massive dollar-denominated profits Dangote Refinery is going to be accumulating over the next several years, the federal government of Nigeria, through the NNPCL, will be accruing 20% of that. So there's really a lot to look forward to. That does not include the 200,000 barrels per day BUA refinery being put in place in Akwa Ibom by Abdul Samad Rabiu in BUA. That's going to be another major component, in addition to all of the modular refineries that our administration is incentivizing and facilitating across the Niger Delta. So that's all important. I have not even talked about what Nigerians can expect in terms of gas. Obviously, we have the NLNG Train 7 at a very advanced stage, approaching 70% completion. That is going to be very advanced by the end of this year. We have new pipeline systems that we are going to be tidying up and concluding with the AKK pipeline, and obviously the uplink through the Sahara into Algeria, which will connect with the Algerian pipeline system into Western Europe. That's another ongoing project. So we have a lot of various elements of our energy security program that Nigerians can look forward to. And I must say that within the last few weeks alone, Mr. President, through his active investment promotion activities, has been able to secure a pledge of $6 billion of Total in new deep offshore investments and gas investments. He has been able to secure other investment pledges from Shell in the multi-billions of dollars. And he's going to continue to do that with ExxonMobil and others. There is a lot going on in the oil and gas sector. But before I round up, I think it's very, very important for me to note that Mr. President also, in the very first part of this year that we've just entered, is going to be launching the student loan program, which is really something that is very, very, it's dear to his heart. Being able to provide really upscaling what he had already achieved in Lagos, ensuring that indigent families, that less privileged families are able to have that burden taken off of them, that they can have their child have a world-class education without bearing 100% of the burden. That is going to be a major launch point in the early part of this year, ensuring that our students are able to go to school without having to worry about how they're going to pay for the next...
All right. Mr. Ngilales, sadly we couldn't delve into ICT and agriculture. Can you hear me? Sadly, we couldn't delve into ICT and agriculture, but I'm sure we will have some other time for that. During Ngilales, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity. Tonight, we focused on the review of President Tinubu's tenure and cross-sectoral prospect for Nigeria in 2024. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on our very first edition of Politics Tonight for the year. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Sorry about the audio problem.
Thank you. Good night. And thank you very much for watching. That's all we have for you on Politics Tonight. Thank you so much for watching and Happy New Year to you. Good night.